on, guys? This is the 4th Gen Gamer here, bringing you guys a brand new countdown. Today we're going to be doing top 5 spin-off games. Swami, you want to explain more what we're doing?
Yeah, pretty much we are talking about our top 5 spin-off games in the series of Pokemon. That basically means any game that does not go along the linear pattern of, red and blue and yellow and green and, the whole chain of Gens 1 through 5. Anything that was separate, that doesn't go along the line of the story. What?
6.
6 gens? Did I just say 5?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, it doesn't even count. There's barely anything in it. Either way. Even though it's only one I play now. Either way, it's all opinionated, so whatever games you may be playing along those lines, whichever you like for whatever reason, whether it was the first game of your childhood, like I have some, or whether it's just one that you find entertaining, or you wish they made more of now, any of it, if you played it with your grandma, then this is the countdown for you.
Gotta tie the grandma in. So as you guys know, and you heard a minute ago, we are joined by a guest today. If you want to introduce yourself.
Hello, it's Enestor, and thank you for having me on here, Josh.
Hey, no problem. Let's get started. We got number 5.
Coming in at number 5, I have the Pokemon Pinball series. And it's a really fun, interesting game. I remember my cousins would play it a lot. This is the only one on my countdown that I did not own myself, but I've played extensively. It's really cool playing pinball, and then you have to try to maneuver it to specific areas to catch different Pokemon. I thought it was really awesome. The main one I played was the Ruby and Sapphire Pokemon pinball game with my cousin. It's just one of my favorite games. There's not much really else to it. I just loved it, and it brings back good memories of spending time with my cousins in my childhood, so it's my number 5. Josh, how about you?
Interesting. I always wanted to play that game. I was kind of like, I want to throw on my countdown, but like I have never played it. It looks cool though. I want to try that one time. I do have the Mystery Dungeon series, the Explorers of Time and Darkness. They're the same exact thing, but I would say the Darkness one, that's the one that I played myself. But I haven't really played the Mystery Dungeon games all too much personally, but I do remember one specific memory when I was like, I don't know, 10 or something. I don't remember the age, but I remember there was a scene where it was, oh fuck, I think it was like Azrael and Hypno and, no, it was Drowsy. And Drowsy like kidnapped him and brought him to the back of a cave, and it was just so weird. It's like,
It's what he does best.
It's like a fucking pedophile. It's like, hey, Azrael, you want to come to the back of the cave with me? And then, like, we're spending this whole entire mission, like, looking for, like, pretty much a metaphorical mission of, like, a hunt, like, to get a pedophile, I felt like. It was just so weird, and, I don't know, that's just very memorable, like, oh, God, just so memorable.
And, being back in the cave, yeah. I totally feel you.
It's just so weird, like, I don't know.
Going back to your childhood, eh?
Yeah, back to the childhood. But, Mystery Dungeon series, it's, out of all the Mystery Dungeon games, that's probably my favorite, because that's one that I played the most. But overall, the whole Mystery Dungeon series, I'm not a huge fan of, but that one has the most memories, sadly. But, Enestor, what do you have?
At my number 5, I have the Pokemon trading card game on the Game Boy Color. The biggest reason why I actually like this game is probably because of its theme music. If you guys ever heard it, it's like da 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 da. It's like so upbeat and it's fun, and like it was like the first time I actually got to play like the trading card game. Even though I don't play it now, I actually enjoyed it. Like I remember as a child just like watching like the old Pokemon movies, and then like you'd see like join the Pokemon trading card game, and since like I always thought that I would get destroyed, I'd be like, oh, I have to practice. So I like always was playing on my like trading card game just to like practice and learn how to play. And then I realized how like it's not really my thing, but whatever. It was really fun as a child. It has probably my favorite music or theme music in any Pokemon game period, and that's why it's at my number 5.
I think I remember hearing the music for that one time and I liked it. And just so you guys know, we have Enestor on here because he is the king of spin-offs. He's going to have some good reasonings, I'm sure, because he is the king of spin-offs.
I'm not the king of it, but I had some good opinions.
You're the prince. All right. Number 4, let's get it.
Coming in at number 4 is Pokemon Ranger, the whole series of it. I played the first one, and pretty much that was the only one I did play, but it was mainly because I really enjoyed it, but I just didn't have the time or the interest after that. Gen 4 and Gen 5 kind of waned my interest on Pokemon, so I was at kind of that point. Yeah, it just they just
Aw.
didn't interest me as much for whatever reason.
Yeah, fourth
You know, I
gen.
was getting older. Fourth gen kind of sucked.
It did.
Whoa, whoa.
Fifth gen had a better
Mm.
story than fourth gen,
True.
but there weren't good Pokemon since Gen 3 in general. So either way,
Okay, for the record, Gen 1 and Gen 2 really don't have too much. Okay, Gen 1 does not have a story.
yes, it does. Gen 1 has
Yeah,
a
it
story.
does.
Gen 2 has a really good story. Gen 4 has
Eh.
barely any story, and
Gen 3
5
was
has an
barely a
amazing
story.
Gen 3 was yeah, Gen 3
Okay,
was,
this is
Pokemon
not, this
Ranger,
is not the
bitches.
place. This is not the place.
yeah, Pokemon Rangers. I just like the fact that you can the way that you would capture Pokemon, that you'd have to like electrocute them and then you'd have to do the circles around them and stuff. I just thought it was really cool and it was innovative. That's why I have it at number 4.
Those things were bitches.
Red flag, red flag, red flag. I'm throwing a challenge. Ranger Guardian signs, that is specifically where it is at. And even though you haven't played it, you do have to try either that or on the other version that we'll be talking about in a little bit. But Guardian Signs is a very fun game. The Ranger series overall is fun. I did not love Ranger because the original one, because they didn't really like get the mechanics down exactly of the game. Like they're still kind of learning how to make the series. Like some things
Yeah, I
in
can agree with that.
Ranger,
Yeah.
they kind of like they got it kind of right, but like it's one of those things where like a lot of shit
It
in
wasn't
Gen
the
1.
best game, but
No, it wasn't. It was
it was
decent,
fun.
but that's when, Shadows of Valamia, Guardian Signs, they came in and they really improved a lot of the mechanics, I would say, and then obviously they add in the little ukulele Pikachu, which is really cool, and the
wait, I
story,
played that.
well, then there you go.
I played the ukulele Pikachu.
Ukulele bitches. And yeah, Guardian Signs is a really fun game. The story and it's pretty decent, and I just like the overall the Ranger series as a whole. So I like that game a lot. And holy shit, Twitter's blown up. Enestor.
All right,
Fuckers.
for my number 4, I have Pokemon Pinball, specifically the Ruby and Sapphire version. The biggest reason why I liked it was I just remember always like I don't know, it's just like Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire, like I don't know, it just like left a huge mark on me because it was essentially like my first real Pokemon game I ever played, and like anything to do with it was just like made me happy. And then like I always remember the little mini game with like the Celios where you had to like put like pinball like spheles into baskets, and then you'd have like the spheles just like play with them. It was so funny to see them go. And yeah, there's not much to say behind it besides like I think I counted like maybe 200 hours on my actual game,
Oh,
and I
wow.
still
Whew. Goddamn.
and I still have it.
How
to
are
this
you not
day.
the king of spin-offs? That just doesn't make sense to me.
Because like I don't know, because like the main series games just gets boring to me, and the spin-offs really just like interest me because they actually give like not the same generic thing. But back to the actual game, honestly, it's just like very nicely made. It was like very nice to look at, in my opinion. Just like the music was always upbeat. I mean, like a lot of the music I like for games are upbeat, which is why it's at number 4.
Very nice. Let's go on to number 3.
What is?
Coming in at number 3, I have the game that is probably the most unlike any other Pokemon game ever. Maybe not. Pokemon Channel. This game, oh my god, I love this game. Like, I probably put close to
What
between
is it?
100 and 300 hours, somewhere in there. I spent so much time on this game. I don't remember if they had like a counter for how much time you had, but if they did, it was at 99s, I promise. It was incredible. It basically, you live in a house and you get paintings and you live with Pokemon and they just appear, and deli birds bring you presents, and there's different television networks. There's the Pichu Bros, which was awesome. It's an episode. You just get to kind of watch it. There was paint. There was a Wobbuffet quiz. There was a shopping channel. It was basically like watching Pokemon TV, like you were in one of the regions living like what Ash's mom does or whatever. It was so cool. It was so much fun. I absolutely loved it, and it's number 3. And you know what? If there wasn't 2 amazing games ahead of it that really were major parts of my childhood, this would be number 1.
Shit. All right. I have Stadium. Stadium is
A great game.
a great game.
It is rage-inducing.
Yes. It was tough to decide Stadium or Stadium 2 because it's just kind of like, pretty much very similar games. But I don't know how to describe why I like this game. It's just it's kind of just like what you would, when you think of like Pokemon, and you just think of like, it's kind of like this between like Pokemon Showdown and like Pokemon Red. And like, you know, console, I guess. I don't know how to put it, but I like the format of the game where you can do the gym castle, and you kind of just like build your team however you want to, and you know, generally if it's a worse Pokemon, they have better moves, and if it's a really good Pokemon, then it, you know, kind of has shit moves. You're like, hey, I'm gonna have Mewtwo on my team, then Mewtwo has like, why does it have these moves, and then they're shit. But like, I think it's just, I haven't played the mini games, so don't. I know
mini games were the best.
I know everyone says that, but I just like the gym leader castle thing. I don't know, I just find it really cool. It's just like different from the normal style, but it still kind of traces back a little bit. Like the other games, some of them are really far off, you know, the beaten path from the normal games. But this one's kind of like, I don't know. I just like it. Lame. Enestor, what do you have? I know, lame.
This was actually a spur of the moment kind of thing, but like I just remember that Pokemon Stadium 2 was definitely one of these games that was a huge part of my childhood. It was like, I remember when I didn't get my Nintendo 64 on my own. It was my sister's, but I remember it was the first game I got on my Nintendo 64. I remember playing extreme amounts of time on the what's it called, I think it was the Chansey. It was Chansey catching eggs. I'd always try to go on hard. It would be like the biggest challenge, try to get like 100, and then like once I got 100 for the first time, it was just like mission complete, and then like the rest of the mini games just like were amazing. Oh my god, the Eevee ones, the Hitmontop one, oh my god, Topsy Turvy was an amazing game. And then like, oh god, like what's it called, the Pinsir Scyther game, that game was like, oh my god, just like, it's so tense because like you don't know when like the logs are gonna drop. It just like, you always were on edge. I'd be like playing against my like friends, we'd be like, who's gonna be the best? It's just essentially like the Mario Party of like Pokemon for me with that game. So many good and bad times with that game. And although I've never really beaten the castle thing, because I always lose to Will, because no matter what, because I always was like preparing to go against Koga and Bruno and the rest of, and Lance. I just could never beat Will, no matter how much I tried. But Pokemon Stadium 2, definitely one of my favorite Nintendo 64 games, and that's why it's my number 3.
See, now I wish I played the minigames. I feel like I would have a much higher appreciation for the game, but, you know, I know it is not an emulator because I don't have the actual hard copy, but anyway.
I have the hard copy too.
Yeah. Let's go on to number 2.
Coming in at number 2, I have Pokemon Coliseum, the game that changed the game. This was absolutely
okay. It's not that dramatic. All right,
changed the game.
Seriously.
It is. It was the first it was the first 3D game on GameCube in terms of Pokemon.
And the also second to last one.
Yeah.
I mean, there's Battle Revolution, but
Battle
come on.
Revolution.
There are a few games, but this one really it was so beautiful. Just everything about it was amazing. Anyone who's played the Pokemon series knows about Coliseum and how amazing Coliseum and XD Gale of Darkness was. Personally, I like Coliseum better, but I just didn't like the feel to the start of XD Gale of Darkness. I don't know. But either way,
that contradicting bastard. Come on, just seriously.
It was just a lot of stuff about it. But
your little sister was so annoying.
yes.
True point.
But either way, I love this game. It set the tone for something that was going to be in the future that never really came to be, in more besides one game of this type of feel. Hopefully they bring it back sometime in the near future, but I absolutely loved it, and I've played it multiple times, probably the only game that I've played at least 3 times.
Not bad. So, I have another Ranger game. You guys know I like the Ranger games. Shadows of Almia, though. Ooh, Shadows of Almia, that game was... I love that game so much, and this one I think I have a little bit of reasoning for. Obviously, that's the game that came... It wasn't the most recent game, actually. Guardian Signs, I do feel like it's a little bit worse. The story isn't as developed. But Shadows of Almia is the second game in the series out of 3. And first of all, they fixed everything from Ranger. They said, alright, let's just kind of figure out what we're doing. And Ranger, they pretty much just had... You have to, like... I think you had to, like... draw a circle around them like a certain number of times. Like, they had like a sort of a health bar in Shadows of Almia, which was so much better, and they carried that over into Guardian Signs. But Shadows of Almia, they just did it so right. I remember the boss Pokemon. I forget the person's name, but they had a Drapion. I was stuck on that shit forever. But that was just, that game, I've never felt so, like, just so rewarding when, like, you finally beat a boss Pokemon that you can't beat. I think it was that game. We were talking about this in the last countdown, I think, with Regigigas, the last Pokemon. And it's just so challenging, but it's just, like, so rewarding when you finally do it. And it's like, oh, it's awesome. But the story in it, Darkrai, holy shit. I wish I remember the story a little better. It's been years since I played the game. It's a long story, I feel like, so I never have the time or the patience just to go through it again. But it's, if I were to play a Ranger game, or for that matter, really a spin-off game, it would probably be that game, because that one's definitely quicker than the one that I have number 1. But anyway, Enestor, what do you got?
For my number 2, this may or may not be a surprise to people who are actually familiar with my channel. It's actually Pokemon Puzzle. I know, I did.
The same game you can find online 15 billion times?
Yes, I know, but like, the biggest reason why I love this game so much was essentially, just like the amount of, I don't know, there was something so addicting about like having to figure out like putting like puzzles. I don't know why, just like figuring out like which way to put your, like match the boxes, and like how like it tested your speed constantly, because like as you went through like higher levels, you were constantly having to go at faster and faster paces of like matching, and then like doing combos, like watching blocks fall. You had to learn how to be like independent. You gotta learn how to like break, like look at your opponent's screen while looking at yours, trying to make sure that you don't lose, but making sure that whatever, you're not setting the other person up too much, because like sometimes when you had like too big of a combo, you essentially slowed it down so they can just move their boxes so much. And then like, oh my god, freaking super hard Mewtwo, that was literally like, I think the hardest thing I've ever done, like period, in a Pokemon game. Harder than like any, I don't know, in any game, I think. Actually, that's a bit of an exaggeration, but like, one of the hardest bosses ever. You get one shot to be this extremely like super computer, like it could move at extreme speeds. I can't even describe how fast they were going. I think they were going across the board in like 2 seconds, making matches like every other second, essentially.
Well, fuck.
So essentially like when the moment you actually like defeat it and stuff, it was just like so gratifying. Like all the time, all the failures you kept doing, and the counter that just kept putting extra pressure on you, just like was extra motivation to like go for that like single run where you don't lose a single time, which I still haven't done, but I got into like 3 times on super hard, which is really, really admirable. And the music in it, oh my god, I love how like they play the To Be a Master album on it for every single trainer, except like they add some more for certain guys. Like Mewtwo had like his own custom music, which wasn't heard before, which was chill. But like anything from the To Be a Master album is always a fan for me, and that's why it's my number 2.
Well, damn. We got number 1 still. I don't know what can top that for you, but let's check it out.
Coming in at my number 1 spot, we didn't even do a drum roll. Josh, you're slacking.
Well, they can already see it, but go ahead.
Yes, my number 1 is Pokemon Snap. Just my favorite Pokemon game ever.
Pokemon Snap. You see what I'm doing?
Ever.
Ever? Pokemon. Forever. You're just stretching this out for your reasoning. Come on, man. I want to see some actual good stuff.
This game was so much fun because you got to see Pokemon in their natural habitat, running around, playing, being camera shy, everything. You could throw apples at them. You could throw, I think it was pester balls to knock out or stun them. There was a Poke Flute. And you were in this little cart. And you were just driving along on this path. And you would have to capture all these Pokemon doing their natural things. And the better you zoomed in, the better action shots you got. it was just such a cool, interesting game. And it was 3D. It was. Even for way back when, it was still a very good game. And I fell in love with the game, and I never actually fully beat it because I never figured out how. You know, there was no real internet back then when I was playing it. And, you know, so I got all the Pokemon except for Mew, and you have to, like, get signs and whatever to get the other ones. It's a whole long process, but it's really interesting because, first off, it was before I played any of the actual Pokemon games. This was my first Pokemon game.
Wow.
So I'd watched the show, and I had never played one of the actual games, but I'd played this. So that was first. Secondly...
Probably an interesting first experience.
Yeah, it definitely was. Second thing is this. There are legendary Pokemon that are seen that are in eggs. You see Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres in eggs.
Shit.
Which... So there are a lot of different things about it that are really different and really cool. I thought Porygon was always awesome in it. You know, there was just so many different things that you would never expect to see. Like you see Magnemite becoming Magneton the right way. All three of them combined together instead of just evolving. Like, there's a lot of really cool, interesting things about it. And it is by far my favorite Pokemon game ever made.
Wow.
By far. Including normal series. By far, this is my favorite.
Wow. By Nintendo? Would you go
Pokemon
that
in
far?
general. Pokemon.
Yeah, I'm asking, would you go that far as say Nintendo too?
It's hard to compete with Super Smash Bros. Melee and some of the Mario games, but
Ooh, true.
yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
Brawl is a great game, and
Number one.
Melee, whatever.
Number one is Pokemon Snap.
Okay, I have XD, Gale of Darkness. I'm that dude that does say XD, because I am a Shadow Lugia fan, and the reason why I said it before, you know, Ranger, I'd rather play that is just because the pace of the game is a little bit slow, like the battle animations, or whatever. But if you really just want to take some time, like especially like going over the summer or something, you have, you know, an extra GameCube where you have a really good computer that can maybe run a certain program. I'm not saying anything.
No.
But what? I don't know. But if you have a Wii or something that can play a GameCube game, and you have XD lying around, or you can do Coliseum too. They're both really similar, obviously, but really fun games. And I mean, I just had a really good experience with that. I remember getting a GameCube and like a big box of, you know, like GameStop, they used to sell like a bunch of those used GameCube games. They all had like that annoying yellow sticker on them, and you couldn't get them off, but it's like, oh well, I'll live with it. And I just remember getting that, and that's like all that I played. I just played XD like all day on Christmas, and I was like, this game is so cool. And obviously it was Christmas break, and you had nothing to do all break except for, you know, you had to go to your certain family's house one day, and then it's still another day, so you went outside sledding or whatever. And this game I just played the shit out of, you know, me and my friends, and we were just like, holy shit, this game is actually awesome. Then you could see all their Pokemon with like the snag thingy and the shadow Pokemon you have to purify, and just the details that they have in the game is really good. And I just prefer, you know, XD over Coliseum. Just, I don't know, Shadow Lugia. Fuck yeah. But anyway, Enestor, what do you got? Hello.
This will... Well, you took all my thunder with Pokemon Gale of Darkness. It is also my favorite Pokemon spin-off.
Hello?
Much more than... I guess, like, it's barely better than Pokemon Puzzle.
We missed your first word there, your internet shit for a second.
Alright. You want me to redo from there?
Yeah,
No, just
keep
go.
going. Just keep going.
Alright.
Keep it going.
Dude, I don't know how these go, but, like, my number one was...
Drum roll, there you go.
Thanks for the drum roll and everything. You know what? Stop! I'm trying to take my thunder. Stop taking my thunder.
Boom, boom, boom.
Okay, my favorite game was Pokemon Gale of Darkness as well, just like the 4th gen game over there.
Hey.
Also, biggest reason why was because, like, once you open the game, you see the scene, like, a boat in the middle of nowhere,
Oh,
and then, like,
yes.
all of a sudden, you have this huge Lugia, which I thought was a texture glitch, like, oh, it was black, it's like, oh, they screwed up somehow, but only to see, like, its eyes were red, and see, like, it's being evil, just like taking this ship and taking it away, and then, like, oh my god,
I love that scene.
and then the idea of just using shadow Pokemon, like, the idea of shadow Pokemon was definitely the biggest reason why I love both XD and Coliseum. They were amazing, like I don't know if other people have done it before, but like it was definitely the first time I've seen something like that where you have to like purify a Pokemon to actually use it and become better. And then one reason why I like it better than Coliseum is because like the variety of you get to use and the variety of shadow moves and
the different shadow moves was incredible.
Yeah, like Shadow Sky was definitely something that really left a mark on me. Like I remember seeing a freaking Lunatone just like call down a sky of shadow pellets would always just like destroy my team. But yeah, just like the idea of just like the shadow Pokemon, purifying these shadow Pokemon and then using them to take down evil was really good. And then like, oh my god, just like the little Greevil dude, just like I never expected that. Well, spoiler alert if you guys haven't played it before.
Damn it.
I don't really care at this point. It's been like, I don't know, 10 years. I think it's been like good. 10 years since the game's been out. But like the little innocent dude that helps you out in the beginning of the game turns out to be the leader of what you're trying to stop, which freaking mind blown me. Like blew my mind. I don't know. I can't speak words right now because it's just like, I'm so excited. It's just like, it makes me want to play this game again. And then like when you got to use like any evolution, like you could use Umbreon, Espeon, Flareon, Jolteon, Vaporeon, just like the variety of Pokemon are just like astounding. And like I like how you can choose. That's another reason why I like it better than Coliseums, because like I got to use my favorite evolution of Flareon, even though it sucks ass. But I got to use it and have extreme trouble with it, but whatever. And
Flareon's actually not that bad.
Well, in X and Y, it's actually pretty viable. But like when you're trying
back
to
then, if you didn't know any better.
Yeah, third gen mechanics made it awful, but a lot of things were done right. Some things I wish they still had, like the calling system that Coliseum had, where it just snapped them out of hyper mode instead of having to like kill them, which was really stupid. But the purification system was actually really useful because like you get to purify all these pokes and have a variety of Pokemon essentially at your disposal. Although I hated grinding for them, but whatever. Biggest fault was just like there were no like places to grind, but whatever.
Yep.
Too many memories in this game to look over that. And
Same.
And it's also, I didn't beat Coliseum, but I beat Gale of Darkness, which was, I guess, a little more enjoyable. Another reason why I like it better, but that's why it's my number one.
Yeah, so I think
Very
that's, fucking XD for the win. Coliseum, awesome. I think we all love that, and I think just Pokemon, just the fan base as a whole, we kind of want a game for the Wii U. Just like, come on, Coliseum 2, no, maybe not. Name it something else, but hey, if you guys did enjoy the video, make sure you do leave a like, leave some suggestions on what other top 5s we can do in the future. We want to hear your guys' feedback, how you guys have been liking the series, and any other guests that you want to have on the series. Anything else that you guys want to throw in?
To reference Pokemon Emerald, Josh is an idiot.
Thank you.
That's about it. That's about
Alright, make sure you check out Enestor's channel, link down below, and until next time, this is the 4th Gen Gamer, joined by these wonderful people.
Thank you for being
Pikachu.
on, Enestor. Thank you for being on, Enestor.
Thanks for having me, guys.
See ya.
Peace.